Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. I want to thank you guys for tuning in to Up Close and Personal with Angela. I am, of course, Angela Thomas Smith. I am the founder of AALAC, which is the African American Author Literacy Awareness Campaign, bringing awareness to brown authors all over the world. I am also the CEO of Aspiring Authors Magazine, where we are bridging the gap between brown authors all over the world, and we're touching on topics that's affecting the brown community, such as domestic violence, bullying, suicide, and right now social injustice. We're touching on things that's affecting the brown community. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to thank you guys for following me. If you are not following the magazine, please go over and follow the magazine. I am super excited about my guest on today. We have Allison West with us today, and she go by Allie West. And she is an author, but I'm gonna let her tell her story because she can tell her story. I can't. So, how you doing today, sweetie?
I'm good. How are you doing? Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited to be here today.
Thank you for coming on and sacrificing your afternoon to be a part of the show and allow the followers to get up and close and personal with you on today. So, if you would love to share your journey on becoming an author, I would love for you to share that with the followers today.
Okay, absolutely. My journey is a very interesting journey. When I was in school, it wasn't as if I was like, oh, I'm going to study journalism or creative writing, and this is what I would love to do. I just always had a love for telling stories and a knack for telling stories, but also, the love to write. So I would write short stories or poems or, something all the time. But the funniest thing is I would start these books and I would have my friends and family excited about it, ask them to read, usually the first page, and they'll get excited about it. And then I would not finish it. It would go to the next one. So I call them my 51st projects. So in undergrad, I had an opportunity to see author Julia Hare. And, years ago, she was a part of the Black think tank, and one of her books was Black Men Working, or How to Get and Keep a BMW. And she came to my college, and it was the first time that I actually saw somebody who looked like me in that stage, because a lot of times you didn't see Black authors on, and especially up close and personal. So that really sparked my interest in writing. But it wasn't until several years later, when I was really dealing with a bout of depression, and I started journaling. It was like I needed to find an outlet, something to get this stuff out. And so I needed an outlet, and that outlet was journaling. And then it came to a space where it was like, this is a healing journey for me, and I need to get the story out, because it's probably people who are dealing with these experiences and experiencing some of these things and don't feel comfortable talking about it. So I want to, bear my truth and my story, or dealt with my ugly chaos, and then birth my book, A Dressed Up Mess, because that's exactly what I was at the time, a dressed up mess. It actually took me 7 years before I finished the book, because I would start off and on, life would happen, or there were parts where I was dealing with this book where, I dealt with some touchy subjects within the book. And so sometimes that journey was a painful journey, and I'd be like, forget this, or screw this book. I'm not doing this. I'm not going to do it. Let me move on to something else. But creator just would not allow that to happen. Every time I wanted to start to move on to another book or another task, something always brought it back to me. And one of the funny things about it is I had started doing excerpts on Facebook, and it would really grasp people's attention, grasp the attention of men, women alike, different ages, different races. And then again, I'd stop writing. Every time I was ready to move on to something else, someone would either email me, text me, Facebook, inbox, and say, where's the book? I thought you were writing a book. Sometimes it would be strangers, because the post would go, people would share it. And sometimes it would be people that I know going, where's the book? So I couldn't get away from, finally penning A Dressed Up Mess, which I released in November of 2019. and currently now working on my second book because even though I was a dressed up mess and could realize that and start, identifying that stuff, I was still a mess. So the book 2, Still a Mess, is actually scheduled to release in October of this year.
Amen. Amen. You have been busy. I tell you, you have been busy. So what really inspired you to become a writer?
So the inspiration again was just having that knack for telling stories and just always interested in being able to tell that story or write. But for me to get to the space, the inspiration of finishing this project, because it was such a labor of love, so I'll call it, or labor of healing, it was that completion, because a lot of times I would start these projects and never complete them. And so I wanted to finally see my intellectual property brought to life. Like a book is something that is yours. That's your ownership. Like all the work and stuff that we do is usually per hour work and labor per work. But when you create intellectual property and you get to tell your story through your lens and from your perspective, that's yours and it lives on way beyond you. So even when I'm, gone to the next transformation of life, this project will still be here. Whatever I'm able to produce will be here. And that's exciting. That's inspiring to me. And then my journey actually is just really that healing journey and wanting to, or having the desire to be open and honest about my journey and hoping, that it helps someone else, that someone else sees that it's okay to be a mess, but it's not okay to stay a mess. Because I was a mess. I just dressed it up.
Amen. Amen. It's a lot of us. A lot of us fit that category. I tell you, a lot of us fit right in that category, and a lot of us have done well dressing that mess up. And
yes,
it's time for us to own that truth so that we can help other people. And I truly applaud you for finally getting that book out and getting started on number 2, and soon number 2 will be out. So we're gonna give you an opportunity to share just a little bit out of the book. But I want to ask you a couple of more questions. I know you said that you've been writing for a while. So I know it took you a while to get your book out. So you probably have a lot of writings that you just have just laying around, because I know authors come on all the time and they talk about how they've been writing since they were little. I had one author that came on. She said her mom actually kept stuff from when she was in elementary school, and she was able to put that in a book. She put together a collection of things that she collected
that's
from
amazing.
when she was little, and she realized that she has always been a writer. So is that your case? Have you always been a writer, or is it just something that you picked up along the way?
I believe it is something that I always had a desire to do, but picked it up more along the way when really, again, it really kind of started with having stuff inside that needs to get out. And sometimes you don't always have somebody to talk to about, or these stories that you don't always, have someone to share this. And for me, the writing and the journaling piece was that expression of that to help me get out whatever those thoughts were. And so, getting to the space where I was like, okay, I'm going to write a book about this. Really, the realness of that started in 2012. And so what happened is, like I said before, I was starting, stopping, but I keep writing as if I could never write another book. I was just writing. And so in 2017, I realized, okay, this is going to have to be more than one book. So at that time, I decided, okay, this will be a 4-book journey, and it would be listed a dressed up mess, still a mess, because sometimes we can realize we're a mess, but we don't want to do the work. We want to still be a mess. And then the next one would be address the mess, because in order to get out of the mess and move forward, you have to start learning how to address what your mess is. And your mess may not be mine, but we all, if we're honest, like you said, have been, a mess and good at dressing it up. And then mess to a message. And then, which, now I feel like I'm in my mess to masterpiece, but it's not a linear line, it's circular. We can be in any of those places at any time. So really the desire to get that message out has created so much writing. When I got the initial book to my editor, we had a deal for a 20,000 word book, and I got it to her, and it was 79,598 words. So I had 4 books in one already. But all those stories won't come to life because so much else has happened since then. And to move the story along, I can't stay stuck in that space, but I will be using some of those writings in developing book 2 and other books. So yeah, it will be some of that leftover stuff. I know that was like a 30-minute answer
No,
to a 2-second question, but I just like to hold the journey.
I mean, that's your journey. You have to tell it the way that it's given to you and the way you lived it. So, no, that was not
Yes.
long at all. But I really
Okay, good. Now
because you are definitely. I mean, you have inspired me today because we
oh,
a lot of us, and we have to be honest. A lot of us have mess that we need to get rid of, and we still holding on for what?
exactly.
Why are we holding on to it?
Exactly.
And you let it
Oh,
go.
you have spoken the word. That's it. We'll hold on. We'll be proud owners of mess. And
And
that mess, which we don't realize a lot of times, is what's keeping us from our purpose or our message or our masterpiece or whatever it is that we are going to. And so, what I like to, want to definitely make sure that the listeners hear is that sometimes people come into your life in a certain part of your journey and they'll think this is where you are and they don't know that backstory or that, what you went through, your season of plowing through that stuff or denying it. Do you know how many lessons I was retaught? Like kept attracting the same type of person, those type of lessons. So a mess may not be a literal mess, but it can be your messy thinking, your messy belief systems, your messy language, how you talk, which is really how that messologist was birthed. Is that I'm not, dwelling in mess, but my purpose now is to help people to turn their mess into their masterpiece. And when I say masterpiece, I'm talking about PEACE. Initially, I was like, masterpiece, yes, like a mosaic, broken pieces put together. But when you learn how to move past that, that's when you can master peace in your life. And whether you're going through something or not, no matter how devastating that situation is, when you get to the place of peace, peace is a priority in your life, and you get to master that space of peace. Don't mean mess won't come. Don't mean chaos won't come, but we know how to move through it. And so that's my journey. Don't make a decision about me based on what you see today. You see a snapshot. I've been through some things to get you.
Exactly. Well, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
And it's no coincidence that you're on here because I truly don't believe in accidents or coincidence.
Me
I
either.
just did I do a motivational thing on Sundays on Facebook Live. I'm a part of this group called I Am Her International. And
Oh, wow.
I do a inspirational piece at 8 a.m. on Sundays. Long story short, I did a piece on peace and fighting for your peace.
Are you serious?
So when I tell you,
See,
when God lines stuff up, He lines stuff up. When He ordains
I
stuff,
agree
He
with
ordains
you.
stuff. So somebody needs to hear that today.
You're
That's
gonna have me
on my
screaming over
platform.
here.
So he wouldn't have sent you here with that message if that's not what was needed today. So I thank you for being obedient and coming and sharing this message on today. We don't know. Sometimes we don't know the plans that God has for us. We just have to live the life and allow Him
Absolutely.
to lead us. But we have to do the
That's
things.
it.
We have to have faith, and we have to do the things to line up with His word, so that He can show us and guide us in direction. Because He already told us in
Yes,
Jeremiah 29:11 that He had a plan for us, to prosper us, for us to be in good health, for us to have hope in the future. And He
absolutely.
said that for all His children. He just didn't set me aside and say it for me and not you.
Yeah.
What's for me is just for you.
See,
Because He has no respectable person. And
absolutely.
I
Anybody
thank
who
God
believes it can
for
get it.
exactly. I thank God for the platform because it gives me an opportunity to allow ordinary people with extraordinary walks in life to come on and share their journey so that other people can be set free, delivered, and healed and walk in their purpose. You know, all
Absolutely.
I set out to educate, empower, and encourage somebody. That's all I want to do. And I thank God for the platforms because every platform that I go on that I'm a part of, he allowed me to let it not just be about books, but to allow his light to also shine. So I thank him for that. But
Absolutely.
I know I talk too much, so I'm gonna have to move out the way so I
No,
can
you
allow,
good. You good.
allow
Let me
you
tell you.
because it's about
No, you good.
opportunity to be up close and personal with Allie West. And I want my followers to know who you are. So we know that you're an author. We know that it took you a minute to get that book out. And
It
they're
did.
gonna have to get that book so they can find out exactly why it took you that long to get that book out. Because it's a
Yes.
process. People don't understand. People don't understand. Some people can kick out books overnight, but sometimes you have to go through some stuff. But I wanted to ask you, in writing this book and going through it and it taking so long, was there an emotional toll that it took on you getting this book out?
What? Absolutely. That was part of what took so long, is because I'm dealing with subjects that we experience, but people don't like to talk about. Nobody really wants to sit around and talk about, because especially when we talk about, appealing to the Black and brown community, we're getting to that space, but nobody wants to sit and talk about their depression. A lot of times, okay, just pray about it, or don't nobody want to hear about it. But when you are in that space, like, you can look, I dealt with depression on and off. And when I was at some of the lowest points, I had a master's degree, I've had a Lexus, a BMW, all this stuff, clothes out galore, but then have a cutoff notice, and then have lose my job. And so my messaging is to show people, no matter where you are in life and what that walk looks like, you can experience some turmoil or some mess or that internal chaos. My deal was I was dressing up literally and figuratively. So I would dress it up, put on the makeup, the hair, the clothes, and get out and talk and smile and look like nothing's bothering me. And I'm walking around as a shell internally. And so now, mind you, the time and place that the book took place is in like early 2008, 2010 time frame. So we're 10 years or more removed from that. So I am my growth journey has been expeditious, since then. I've learned a lot about myself. But speaking from that, I had to go back in this process of writing the book to deal with those hurts. And that stuff was real. So when a reader reads it, they feel what I felt. And my book is not a PG book. It's not for kids. It's a real experience of what it feels like to be depressed, to have not the best interpersonal relationships within the family, with my children, my daughter in particular, or with my mother, to be in a situation of not a physically abusive relationship, but mentally and emotionally abusive terror relationship with someone. That's stuff that people don't want to. We want to cover that up. We don't want to talk about it, and our ability to make these same types of decisions. So when I wrote this, I was still making some of those decisions. And then it was painful to go back to some of that stuff. So it was time I cried, it was time I laughed, it was time I was sad, it was time I was in the closet saying, okay, God, I really don't want to write this, and critical, and no. Just what you asked for, you're going to get it. You're not going to be out until you finish this journey. So when you talk about an emotional toll, there's times, and I'll be honest with you, I am a believer. I know Creator exists. I have a great personal relationship with Creator that this serving curses. And so it was time I was throwing that book and cussing it. I was like, I'm not touching it no more. And that was, forget this book, but I didn't say forget. But I was like, no. So yes, everything that I felt, the reader feels. That's the feedback that I get, that people are saying that I was right there with you on every situation. There was times that I laughed, that I cried, that I rooted for you, that I could feel it. Like we were just sitting down having a conversation. And that's exactly what I wanted out of that. And I think that part when you're saying that emotional toll, because it's the feeling. When people can feel and feel your authenticity, you can connect better. And I believe that that's what it is that I just gave it. And some some of the stuff I probably gave too much, according to some folks, but it was what I needed to do to get to my healing journey so people can see, even though you may not deal with this on a public platform by putting your book and your business out in the streets like this, but I did it for you so that you can recognize and realize you ain't the only one that's dealing with it. And it's okay to be a mess. It's not okay to stay a mess, but you got to do the work.
That's it. That's it. I'm telling you, that's it. And more people need to be like that because there's too many people in this world that are hurting. And people need to know that there are people where you are, there's people that have been where you are, and there's people that's willing to help you through what you're going through. And people need to know that. So I thank God for people like you, and I thank God for this platform so I can bring people on here so they can share, because somebody may tune in here. So they may be my friend, and they may not even be connected to you, but they may come on here and see this video, and they may need exactly what you're saying. And because we had this interview, it gives them the opportunity to connect with you. So I thank God. I thank God for divine purpose. I thank God for purpose, because I know He didn't just place us here. That He placed us here with a reason. He placed us here to make a difference and to touch lives. And I truly believe that that's what you're doing. I believe that that's what you're doing. I just want to let you know that if there's anything that AALSAC can do to help you, if Aspiring Authors Magazine can assist you on your journey as an author, please feel free to reach out to us. I love supporting authors.
Oh, thank you.
I'm an author myself. I have 13 books out. I do inspirational books. I do collaboration projects because I believe in allowing individuals, because a lot of people that connect with my collaboration projects, they're not authors until they connect with the project, and then now they're co-authors. So now they're authors. It's giving them a chance to get their story out there, and they wouldn't have had that opportunity. Awesome. So I thank God for that, and I thank God for people like you that are sharing your story. Please, we're not going to leave until we get an opportunity to hear just a little bit of your book. And then we have to share with those that are tuned in and those that will hear the replay, how they can get in contact with you, your social media links, of that nature. If you would post it in the comment section over to the right, it was you may have to post it in the private chat. And then I can transfer it to the comment section, so it'll be posted. And then I can post it up on the screen if you want. But if you would read an insert from your book, I would love that. It would give the listeners opportunity to, get excited.
Okay, absolutely. So look, I'm going to put these on because I might be reading something that's not there. So I'm not able to see. So we're going to make sure that I can see what it is that I'm reading. And I'll show you the cover. This is the name of my book, A Dressed Up Mess by Author Allie West. And I'm going to read just a little snippet of my book. And this part is starting to get messy. So I am blind to the fact that I am emotionally and verbally abused. I'm just stuck in love. I keep thinking how much I want to make it work. I miss my babies, but I don't want them to come here. But my time has run out. I'm guarded and I walk on eggshells. Now that we're in our own place, Austin is a little better, but he's mad that we are in Awatuki. The house is big. It's 5 bedrooms, 3 levels. Everyone has their own space. Cicely has the bottom level to herself, so we barely see her. And Timmy has his space too, but he watches television in our room. We argue, but not in front of the kids, so they have no idea how bad it is. I want to keep it this way. I keep them out of his way. I don't want them to do anything to upset him. I'll be glad when school starts so that they'll barely have to see him at all. As for now, I run interference. I make sure they have everything they need so they won't disturb him. We barely see each other. Our work schedules are opposite. And he just picked up another day, so we don't really see each other hardly at all. Sundays are our family day, and we're at ease right now. But I'm wondering, how long will this last? Austin is in his room resting, and Timmy is playing, and Cicely and I are in the room talking while we make dinner in the kitchen. Mom, Austin is mean to Timothy when you're at work. He doesn't think I hear him, but I do. I just tell Timothy to come downstairs with me, but I'm keeping my eye on him. I don't trust him, Cicely says. I'll be back. I fling the bedroom door open. Austin, get up. What's this with you and Timmy? Are you being mean to him while I'm at work? He doesn't listen. He won't clean up behind himself, and I get sick of repeating myself, Austin says. Why didn't you tell me? Why are you questioning me? I'm a grown-ass man. I can't see that I can see that he's starting to get heated. I leave out and I go to Timmy's room. I said, hey, make sure that you clean the room and you listen to Austin. I do listen, Timmy says. I know how you listen. Let's make a plan. How you're going to keep your room clean when Austin's resting. You're going to be quiet. Okay, mommy, Timmy retorts. Come on, let's go eat. Austin's pissed so he doesn't come down for dinner. After dinner, Timmy and Cicely go for a swim and Austin leaves. I lay down and doze off. I hear a loud commotion outside of our bedroom door. Cicely and Austin are screaming. I can't quite make out what they're arguing about. I'm crying, and I jump out of bed and I fling the door open. What's going on? Austin and Cicely tell their versions of the story. Timmy's crying and yelling, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. They're still arguing. I'll call the police, Cicely screams. Call the motherfuckers, Austin echoes back. I hate you, Cicely fires off. I chime in. Enough, you two, enough. Austin snatches Timmy up and he drags him down the stairs. I jump in between them and I pry them apart. Keep your motherfucking hands off my goddamn son. I started him and he let go. You two go to your rooms now. Austin turns his rage on me. I can't believe you took their side. I told him to clean his room and he just sat there and he looked at me. I asked him several more times and he didn't budge. So I snatched him up to make him clean that mess. And he screams like I'm killing him. And then Cicely comes out and she starts cursing me out. The bell rings and someone knocks. Cicely opens the door and Phoenix police officers walk in.
Wow. Wow. I can listen right to that.
Yeah, as I warned you, it's an adult book and it's a real situation when you're dealing with, an abusive person or a person who you're walking around on eggshells and you're trying to keep the peace, but even in trying to keep the peace, chaos just comes if you don't deal with it. And so that was, an insert when things are starting to get messy from my book, A Dressed Up Mess.
Well, I dealt with that. I'm a domestic violence survivor, 6 years. So I definitely can relate to that. I was shot point blank range with a shotgun. So I definitely can relate. So I definitely.
So you definitely understand that you can't tiptoe around those situations. That's something that, when you are in that space and you're dealing with that and you're trying to have some type of dignity and chaos about yourself, but you're, like I said, dressing it up, going out the house, acting like everything's fine, but that internal chaos and that internal craziness in the inside eventually explode and come out. And it can get into these situations that just escalate at the drop of a dime. And then you have situations where now you're putting outside sources into an already bad situation, which just gets worse. Readers, you'll have to buy the book to see what else happens after that. But I do appreciate you in this platform and the opportunity to allow me to even read an insert. I wasn't expecting that. So I was like, let me find the space. Right before we started, you talked about it, but that's where I was led to read. So thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you for sharing. Could you please share with those that are tuned in and those that will tune in how they could reach out to you, what platforms you are on, and how they can get your book?
Okay, absolutely. So to purchase the book, you can go to my website, alliewest.com. That's ALLIEWEST.com. I'm also available on Amazon, so that is definitely another way to go. On my social media platforms, I am currently active on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Messologist. That's MESSOLOGIST, and we'll talk a little bit more about what the Messologist is. And then I'm going to make sure that I put them in our chat so that we can have them listed there. And I just, appreciate the appreciate you guys. So like, follow, share, buy the book. You can actually get a free insert of the book on my website, a free chapter. And like I said, it's my journey. It's my journey. When I was definitely in the midst of a dressed up mess.
Amen. Amen.
So I'm going to put the information in the chat. So bear with me while I do that. And whatever other questions you have for me.
I know we jumped into conversation. I did not get an opportunity for you to tell those that are tuned in where you were from, or nothing. You know, we just jumped right into the conversation.
We just jumped right in, right?
We did. We just jumped right in head first.
So I have a quick question for you. Is it okay if I enter this stuff, if I enter it after the conversation, or is it best to do it while we're okay? So we'll do that. So okay, yes, we did just jump right in. So I am currently in Germany. I reside in Germany. I am a Tulsa, Oklahoma native, but I spent most of my adult career in Atlanta, Georgia, about 20 plus years in Atlanta, Georgia, off and on. And my background is education and training. And that is actually, the initial piece of how I got to Germany was through federal contracting. I was a federal contractor for the VA, and I did some training work for the military, which landed me in Germany. After 20 plus years of early education career, I was doing administration and training and that career, technical assistance, and then left that field and started doing federal contracting. So after doing a federal contract, I met several people over here, and one of the people that I met was my husband. And at the time, I didn't know it. I didn't think that it was going to be my husband. When I met him, we laugh about it almost daily, is that we were friends, and he was someone that was really, like, we were cool, and he was really nice, but he wasn't anyone that I had an interest in for a relationship, and vice versa. But we kept, even when I went back to the US, we kept in contact with one another. And then I ended up coming back to Germany for a visit in 2018. So I initially ended up working here in the beginning of 2018. And I came back, and so we have a running joke now. We're like, we're married now. So we got married in of 19, and I moved to Germany last year. So at the 31st of this month will be a year. And you are in South Carolina, so I am actually 6 hours ahead of you. So here we are, in the evening. It's about 6:30 in the evening here. So, but yes, I'm a Tulsa, Oklahoma, Black Wall Street native. Spent some time with the Peaches for a while. Moved around here and there, but ended up in Germany.
Mm-hmm. So I lived in Atlanta a lot of my adult life. Yeah, from 94 to about 2010.
Are you serious? Yeah. So I lived in Atlanta on and off for 23 years. I moved there originally in 96. And so what the readers will find out, I won't give, it away. I thought I was in love, and, I couldn't see bad juju when it slapped me in the face. And so I actually ended up packing up, moving to Arizona. So the scene that I just read, I said the Arizona PD was at the door, and moved to Arizona, and that didn't quite work out. And I'm grateful for the experience. When you're going through something like that, you're not grateful for it, and you don't ever think that you can be grateful for it. But if it wasn't for those trials, tribulations, the mess, I wouldn't be in my masterpiece. I wouldn't be here talking to you. There would be no book. There wouldn't be messologists. It wouldn't be any of that. So I've learned to finally, when you get to that space of forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving the other person, you get into that space of your masterpiece. I'm grateful for that journey, all the roads and ups and downs and turns and twists that it took. I'm very grateful for that journey. When you say count it all joy, I've learned how to count it all joy, even the darkest times. Okay, Creator, that was for something. I needed to learn something,
Amen.
I really like
it. Amen. I mean, you're definitely speaking truth. I have definitely been blessed on today, and I know as people tune in and share this message that they are going to be blessed.
Thank you.
they need to, they definitely need to follow you, and they need to get this book, because they will be blessed by this book. Um, I want to thank you again for being a part of Up Close and Personal with Angela, behalf of Aspiring Authors Magazine. I tell you, I have definitely been inspired on today, and you are truly a blessing.
Thank you so much, Angela. I appreciate you doing the work that you do to provide opportunities for people like myself. I'm an indie author. It's self-published. It's a journey. I'm working on book 2 to be released in October, and it's a journey that you don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to work, or how it isn't going to work. But I can tell you this: with getting to this space, Creator has opened up so many opportunities to connect with wonderful people like you, to have these conversations, to be able to have that, just like you said, a casual, real conversation about the journey, and people can see behind the idea. Oh, this is someone with a book, but that book had to be birthed. That book was like giving birth. It was 7 years. That was 7 years of completion journey, and so I'm grateful to have this opportunity, and I am grateful for your viewers. And again, I'll have all in the links on how to purchase. They can do alliewest.com. You can you can even do, if you want to, through via PayPal, and it's on the link on my website, that they can do the an option to have a signed autograph copy, or they can have it'll be a link to Amazon, or they can go directly to Amazon to get it. However you get it, I appreciate it. The book is $19.99. The ebook is $9.99. I am right now, like I said, in the midst of working on the second book. So there are a lot things that are getting ready to come up on my social media platforms at Mastologist, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And I'll put those also in the link as well. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you so much. I'm putting those links in there.
Amen. Amen. Well, I want to thank you for coming. You can reach out to her on her website. Her website is posted across the bottom of the screen. You can look her up on Facebook. Her name is scrolling at the bottom of the stream. Allison, author Allison West, is what's listed on Facebook. Again, we have.
I think I'm getting them all up there.
Instagram. I'm going to post the Instagram link so that they can, if they want to connect on Instagram, because I know a lot of people use Instagram now.
Yes, they do. So yes, I think I have all of the links up there. And again, Angela, thank you for taking your time and chatting with me today. I'm very appreciative, and I am grateful for you and your platform. I just send out, just much abundance and blessings to you as you continue to expand and grow and touch people all over the world with the work that you're doing.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for sacrificing and coming on today. I received that word in the name of Jesus. I have posted your links. Awesome. So they can contact you on Twitter, Instagram. They can contact you on Facebook, or they can reach out to you on your website. I want to thank you for sacrificing your afternoon to come on and share with us on today. I pray that someone has been blessed, someone has been encouraged. I know they've been a little educated and a little empowered on today to walk in their purpose. Remember, we're all placed here with a purpose. So continue your week on purpose.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.